Namaste. Hi, everybody. We are still here, and there's no doubt about that. Pranavam Pavanukuma Kalabana Pavaka Gyanagan Jasu Hridayagha Vasini Ram Sarachabadhar Atulita Baladhama Hemashela Badeham Tanujavan Krishna Jnaniyam Graganyam Sakalaguna Nidhan Vanaranam Desham Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Bhattajatam Namam Oshpade Krutavadisham Mashiki Krutarakshasam Ramayana Mahamala Ratna Andena Latmajam Anjananandaram Viram Janaki Shokanashanam Kapisamaksahanta Ande Lanka Vankaram Ilanga Sindho Salilam Salilam Yashokavahi Chanakatma Jaya Adaitane Dadalanka Namamitam Pranjali Ranjaniyam Manojavam Maruttatulya Vegam Jitendriyam Udhimatam Vardishtam Atatmajam Vanadayutamukyam Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadhe Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadhe Shri Ramadutam Sharanam Prapadhe Anjaneyam Atipatalanam Kanchanadrikamaneya Vigraham Parijada Tarumula Vasanam Bhavayami Pabamana Nandanam Yatra Yatra Raghunatha Kirtanam Tattva Tattva Kritamastakhanjali Vashpavade Paripurna Lochanam Maratinamat Rakshasantakam Bolo Bajranga Bali Hanuman Ki Jai. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Jai. Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare, Jai Ram Krishna Hare Jai 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 Ram Krishna Hare 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 Jai 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 Ram Krishna Hare Jai Jai Ram Krishna Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare 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 Jai 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 Ram Krishna Hare 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 Jai Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare 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 Jai 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 Ram Krishna Hare Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare Jai Ram Krishna Hare Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hare Jai Rama Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Rama. Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare. Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare, Jai Jai Rama Krishna Hare. Rama bolo, Rama bolo, bolo bolo Ram. Rama bolo, Rama bolo, bolo Rama. Hare Rama. Sita bolo, Sita bolo, bolo bolo Ram. Sita bolo, Sita bolo, bolo bolo Ram. Rama bolo, Rama bolo, bolo bolo Rama. Rama bolo, Rama bolo, bolo bolo Rama. He Rama. Hanuman bolo, Hanuman bolo, bolo bolo Ram. Hanuman bolo, Hanuman bolo, bolo Ram. Rama bolo, Rama bolo, bolo bolo Ram. Rama bolo, Rama bolo, bolo Rama. Hare Rama. Lakshman bolo, Lakshman bolo, bolo bolo Ram. Lakshman bolo, Lakshman bolo, bolo Ram. Lakshman bolo. Ram bolo, Ram bolo, bolo bolo Ram. Ram bolo, Ram bolo, bolo Ram. Ram bolo. Sitaram, 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 Jai Sitaram. 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 Sitaram, 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 Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 Jai 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 Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 Jai Sitaram. 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 Sitaram, 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 yes, Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 yes, Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 yes, Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 yes, Sitaram. Sitaram, 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 yes, Sitaram. 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 Sitaram. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. You sing the Rams. Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. I once was blind, but now I see. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, so blind, but now I see. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Jambegari Yashama Gari. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Jambegari Jeshama Gari. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Jambegari Jeshama Gari. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Jambegari Jeshama Gari. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Jambegari Jeshama Gari. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Jambegari Jeshama Gari. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Jambegari Jeshama Gari. Matre Namah. Om Shri Matre Namah. Jambe Garni Jai Shama Gauri. Om Shri Matre Namah. Jai Jagadambe, Jai Jai Jagadambe, Ema Durga, Ema Durga. Jai Jagarambe, Jai Jai Jagarambe, Ema Durga, Ema Durga. Jai Jagarambe, Jai Jai Jagadambe, Ema Durga, Ema Durga. Jai Jagarambe, Jai Jagarambe, Ema Durga, Ema Durga. Jai Jagarambe, Jai Jai Jagarambe, Ema Durga, Ema Durga. Jai Jagarambe, Jai Jai Jagarambe, Ema Durga, Ema He Jagarambe, He Ma Durga, He Ma Durga, Jai Jagarambe, Jai Jai Jagarambe, He Ma Durga, He Ma Durga. Okay. There's a million announcements here. But just let me say this Saturday is Chai and Chat, 2 o'clock New York time. Starting next week, we're going to bump this program back a half an hour. We're going to bump this back to 7:30 to start, okay? So from next week on, we'll be starting at 7:30 New York time. Okay. Yeah. So all the information, everything I'm going to tell you is already on the website, krishnadas.com/events. Real things that happen or will happen, maybe. Saturday, June 12th, Chai and Chat this coming Saturday. Sunday, June 13th, is a yoga festival for mental health, and they invited me. Huh? It's an all-day event, and I will sing from 1 to 2 p.m. New York time. Really? Wonderful. Hope I'm up by then. Yeah, so that's Yoga Festival for Mental Health, it's called, and there'll be people chanting and doing stuff all day long, and I'm from 1 to 2. And starting on Wednesday, June 16th, that's this coming Wednesday. Oh my goodness. My 6-week course on the Shift Network is starting. And this one's different than the other two. What we're going to do is more about feeling and transmission of feeling rather than learning too much techniques and stuff like that. We're going to be singing and chanting and Q&A. And I'm going to be telling stories about some of the great saints that that have been really important for me in my life. I haven't met most of them physically, but nonetheless, they've been very important for me. And also, I'll be talking a lot about Maharaji, my guru. And we get a chance to get a taste of what it feels like in the presence of a being like that. Because when we speak about these beings, they come, they're there, they're present, they're always present. But when we call them, they show up. And so in the stories about them, the way they lived in the world, the way they interacted with their people, all of them very different ways, but all ultimately the same, these great beings. So that'll be fun, a lot of fun. And then we'll be doing Hanuman Chalisa every week, and also the Arti, which I've sung a few times here. And the Arti is this hymn to the Guru as the Lord of the universe, as that great one being that we are all a part of. And we bow to the Guru as the representative of that, and as that himself or herself. And so Jaya Jagadish Hare means hail to the Lord of the universe. And it's a very powerful hymn, and we're going to go into the meaning, because when you really understand what some of these hymns mean, they rewire you. It rewires you. It gives you a new way. It opens your eyes in a different way, to seeing things in a different way. Very powerful practice. So we'll be doing that starting June 16th for 6 weeks. It's called Journey on the Path of Love. And then again on Monday, June 21st? Is that right? Chai and Chat on a Monday? Yes, that's right. That's right. Chai and Chat on a Monday, June 16th. No. Where is that? June 21st. Anyway, it's on the website. So you know, if I don't have a brain, I can't remember this stuff. Then again, on June 27th, Yoga Gives Back fundraiser for India COVID relief. Again, another fundraiser. So much money. It's really been great how people have been donating. Just small donations, but they add up. It's amazing. Wonderful. And Nina chants at 7 and I chant at 8. That's Sunday, June 27th. So as far as donating to India COVID relief, on the website, krishnadas.com, there's a place where we list some of the foundations that we worked with. And of course, if you want to help us out, krishnadas.com/support. So it's all there on the website. And now, questions. All right, let's see. There's only 3 questions here. Is that true? That's great. Maybe more will come, but anyway. Which do I choose? The path of loving God and surrendering, or the path of Master Osho? I love both so much, I just don't know what and where to go. Bhakti Yoga is also known to be the easiest. Well, I'm not familiar with the path of Osho, so I can't talk about that. However, the path of love and surrender is a very powerful path. Because when you aspire to surrender, when you truly surrender, when surrender happens, because you don't really surrender, it happens by grace. So when it really happens, at that moment, you have no problems anymore. Everything is on God's shoulders, or the Guru's shoulders, or the goddess's shoulders. Everything is up, it's their problem. You surrendered when you really surrendered. But we haven't really surrendered. So surrender can be a path and you keep letting go of your stuff. If something happens that you don't like, you have to let go of that because you're surrendering. That's the way it had to be. Something happens that you like, you've surrendered, so that's the way it had to be. It's a process, it's a path, it's a sadhana. And at first it may be a little mental, but it quickly deepens, and your own tension and anxiety and fear is relieved because you've put yourself in the hands of one of these great beings who are only here to help us. And so to get the strength to do that, to get the strength to overcome all the ego's shadow dancing around the real thing and pretending to be the real thing and all that stuff, to get the strength to do that, practice is necessary. And many practices, they all can help with that. So that's love and surrender is part of what they call the bhakti path. But bhakti and jnana, wisdom, the path of wisdom, they meet. You know, they're not separate things, really. Not really. The techniques may be different at first, but ultimately they merge. So someone wants me to tell about conditional love given by Maharaji. Well, I hope you mean unconditional love, because that's what it is. You know, we bestow affection on people if they please us, if they give us the things we want, if they make us feel the way we want to feel. When they don't do that, we don't like them. If someone criticizes us, we get pissed off, we get upset, we get depressed, we get defensive. That's because our affections, our so-called love, is conditional. We only give it to people who fulfill certain conditions. With these great beings, like Maharaji, he loves us as we are. He doesn't need anything from us. He doesn't need us to be any specific way. He loves us on a soul level, you could say. Not on a role level, like Ram Dass used to say, there's the soul and the role. You can love the role, you don't have to love the soul. No, the other way. You can love the soul, but you don't have to love the role. But Maharaji loved all of us, you know. He knew everything. Everything. He knew everything we thought, everything we're gonna think, everything we did, everything we're gonna do. Everything. He knew how we thought about ourselves. He knew why we had so much self-loathing and couldn't really accept love or give real love. He knew everything, and he loved us, loves us as we are. There was no pressure there to be anything other than we are. It's very unusual. Most so-called spiritual scenes, you know, you have to dress the same, you have to all do seva, you have to go to meetings and lectures and talks and chanting sessions. It wasn't like that with Maharaji. He used to say, when you come here to the temple to be with him, you should feel like you're going to your grandfather's house. Everything is given. Nothing is required. You don't have to serve. You don't have to do seva. We were there, and the devotees came just to be with him, and nothing was asked of them. It was so extraordinary. There weren't a lot of rules. You didn't have to go to I never went to Aarti. I never went to the rituals that were done every day in the temple. Almost never. And yet he made me the pujari of the Durga temple. You know, people couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. He just gave us love, 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 love all the time. You don't find that easily in this world. It's very unusual. Do I sing Twameva? You mean Twameva Mata Chapita Twameva? Yes, I do. Maybe I'll sing it later. Beautiful shloka. Twameva Mata, you are my mother. Twameva Mata Chapita, you are my mother and my father. Chapita Twameva, Twameva Bandhush Jasaka Twameva, you're my brother and my friend. Twameva Vidya, Dravinam Twameva. I don't know what Dravinam is, but you are wisdom. Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Sarvam Mamadeva. You are my all in all, my Lord. It's beautiful, beautiful hymn. Somebody, we sang at Ramana Maharshi's place in Tiruvannamalai, Arunachala, some years ago. It was so fantastic. Really amazing. I had never been to I had been to Ramanashram once before, many years before. That's an interesting story. Did I meet Sadhu Om and Annamalai Swami? No, I did not meet them. I did not meet them. We were invited to sing, to chant there in the temple, in the ashram. They had just built a new library building, a big, beautiful building, and they invited us to come sing. It was really amazing. And Ramana Maharshi is one of the saints that I'm going to talk about a lot during the shift course. He was unbelievable. Absolutely clear, absolutely free, amazing. The bottom line, everything he said was totally true. It was really exquisite, really unusual also, these amazing. So we were there and it was very sweet. We had a wonderful time there, a wonderful time. Will I be doing in-person chai and chat again? You mean at the studio, the YouTube studio? Maybe. If things open up and everybody's okay, why not? Is the you of your soul different from the you of the ego? If it's all God, souls are individual, but also one. Well, no, not really. The egoistic you is illusion. It's a confusion. It's really not. Forget the word you. It's a me. It's a me that's separate from other me's. It's the sense of self, but it's toxic because it feels separate from other people. It's the feeling of being separate. That's an egoistic delusion. And that delusion pretty much runs our lives. The soul, it's not really an individual soul because it's like a reflection. It's like the moon being reflected in many different pools. It's the same light, the same being, temporarily encased in a form or temporarily reflected in the individual form. It's not really a separate thing. It's the same light. It's all one light. but different reflections. So there's no, it's a sense of unity, like Maharaj used to say, all one. The ego is that me that's different than from you, and that I get the things I want, and if you have the things I want, it's going to piss me off, and I'm going to try to take them from you, or buy them from you, or steal them from you, or get them somewhere else, because I want. But the soul, the so-called soul, is a reflection of that one light, and that light is absolutely pure and perfect reflection. But because of the chitta, in the chitta, the vritti in the chitta, the waves of in consciousness, the ripples on the water break up the reflection of the light of the moon, and it scatters it, and it appears to be many different reflections when it's only one light that's coming. And that's the light of truth, the reality, being, consciousness, bliss. So I hope that's confusing for you. Do I tire of answering questions? No, not really, because I don't know that I know something until it comes out of my mouth. Not that it's ultimately totally true all the time, but I learn a lot when in these back and forth things. It's very useful for me. I like it. Do I meditate separately from chanting kirtan? Yes, I do. What it is, I don't know, but I do it. I've done many types of meditation over the years, many types. And these days, I just do something. I don't even know what to tell you. I kind of just sit and let it happen. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But it doesn't really matter. I don't mean to imply that meditation, it means going after something. I try to just sit and be. Now that's very difficult to do because the mind rips us off and takes us away. Thoughts take us away. So I usually use some mantra quietly, silently, to somewhat slow me down. How do you help someone who doesn't learn from mistakes and seems almost determined to be miserable, and seeing them in pain causes us to be miserable? That's a great one. Well, whoever wrote this question, you obviously haven't learned from your mistakes. You can't change anybody. And if you try to change someone, obviously you're going to get frustrated and depressed yourself and miserable yourself. Let the person be who they are. What is it to you? Don't get caught in their misery. You have to find your joy, your inner truth, your happiness, your presence, your life. If someone's determined to be miserable, God bless them. Well, who cares? When they're ready to let go of that misery and you're there, sitting there in your bliss, they'll say, hey, how do I get some of that? And then you can have a conversation. In the meantime, they're entitled to be miserable. There's no law that says you can't be miserable. Absolutely not. I know, because I'm miserable a lot of the time. And I don't want anybody taking that away. Is there any way to burn bad karma of previous lives? Well, you don't know. We don't know if we don't know about our previous lives. If there really is such a thing as a previous incarnation. We have no direct knowledge of that. So it's no use to be concerned with, what was the question? To burn the bad karma of previous lives. The bad karma is right now. The bad karma is right now. It's not in the past and it's not in the future. It's now. Where did it come from? Who knows? Now is the time to work on it and to liberate that bad karma, the karma that causes unhappiness and suffering and misery. Now is the time. Whether it's from a past life or some dream that you had when you were, who knows? We really don't know. And it's not important. What's important is what's in front of our faces every day, which is our lives. And how do we live in our lives? How do we go through the day? How do we treat other people? There's no such thing as fate that is unchangeable. If that was true, then, what are we doing here? Nothing. We should be watching TV and partying and, smoking dope. But in fact, what they call fate is really cause and effect. And right now, we are experiencing the effects of whatever the causes were, we don't know. So right now, we have so many ways of changing our minds and changing our hearts and changing the way we react to things. So many ways. And that's how you change whatever the karmas that you find yourself with in this life. You do practice. You expose yourself to the Dharma. You try to find out what this is all about. Where it came from is above our pay grade. Absolutely. But learning how to deal with everyday life is really a big thing. Most of the great gurus had millions and millions of householder disciples. And they spent a lot of their time helping those people get what they had to get in their lives in order to move forward spiritually. If we had desires that have to be fulfilled, if it's a strong thing that we want, and we don't get it, we'll be very upset. That's why Hanuman is described as the being who gives liberation by allowing us to merge with his state of being, and also allows us to satisfy the desires that we need to satisfy. It's like, if you're hungry, you have to eat, don't you? If we're human, we have to breathe, don't we? Those are things, and desires are part of that. There are things that we need. So this is not a renunciate path. The path of Hanuman is not, and Ram is not a renunciate path. It's a path in the world, and it transforms the world into a world of love. So whatever we're experiencing now, you could say maybe it came from the past. So the way you meet this moment is the way you so-called burn off those karmas. Illness, sickness, all kinds of things happen. It's how we live in those moments. Like, take Ram Dass and his stroke. Brutal, catastrophic stroke. Could barely speak, couldn't walk, only had the use of one arm, his left arm, and he was a lefty, so that was good. He could still do things with one arm. Now if that happened to a regular person, a regular worldly so-called person, he might be totally destroyed by it. He might feel like his life is over and go into a terrible depression and just be victimized by that stroke. So Ram Dass, at first, he was really in shock. But as time went on, he accepted it, and he worked with it, and he kept letting go and surrendering and offering his stuff to Maharaji, and letting go of anger and fear and shame and guilt and pride. Here was a man who was very powerful in the world in many ways, and now he couldn't even wipe his own ass. He had to ask for everything. He couldn't turn himself in bed after 2 rotator cuff tears and a broken hip, I think it was. Hip replacement or something. Everything he needed, he had to ask for. That could destroy somebody with pride. So he had to give it up, and he did. I used to tease him all the time. I used to say, you finally become who we thought you were 40 years ago. And he would laugh. He would laugh. But really, he wasn't perfect, but he really conquered so much stuff in that chair. It was astounding, really astounding. And he really opened into a different place, a much deeper realm. He lived in a realm that was filled with love. And much of the ego stuff, most of it, almost all of it, had really disappeared, had really gone away. And by the end, he was light as a feather and deep as an ocean. I feel constantly torn between the path of a householder and the path of a sannyasi. And sannyasi, for those of you who don't know, means a renunciate, a swami. I struggle to release inner attachment while living a normal American life. Good. It is a struggle. But there you are. You can't be a sannyasi. You obviously have responsibilities you have to take care of. Where are you going to go? You're going to let your family starve? You're going to take yourself away from your children or your partner because you have some fantasy about wanting to get away from attachment? That's attachment. It's a negative side of attachment. Running away is the same as holding on. You can't go. Everywhere you go, you're going to be there. And you're a mess. And you're going to stay a mess until you get over it. You have to work with it. Right now. This life. You work with the cards you're dealt with. You don't have any other cards to play. There's that great line from that Steely Dan song. Your black cards will give you money, so you hide them when you're able. In the land of milk and honey, you must put them on the table. Right on. You've been dealt your cards. You agreed to sit down at the table and play the game. You got your cards, now you have to deal with them. There's no sense pissing and moaning. That's it. And as soon as you surrender to the reality of who you really are, not who you imagine yourself to be, some great sannyasin who can be beyond any attachment. That's nonsense too, by the way. It doesn't feel like that. When you're beyond attachment, you're in ultimate love. You're in love with the world. It's not a cold place. people think it's a cold place. And if people get stuck, even if a sannyasi or a yogi gets caught in that cold place, that's not a liberation. That's a cold place, a dark, cold place. And it's subtle ego. And it doesn't last either, more than a lifetime. So it's better to deal with what you have in front of you rather than imagine it could ever be some other way. Maybe things will change. But the change, as they say, comes from within. Well, there's a very, someone wrote to me, my partner recently killed himself after a 7th-month struggle with traumatic brain injury. Traumatic brain injury. I am struggling with incredible guilt and also with the pain of knowing how much pain he was in, more than I ever imagined, which was so much, and how scared he must have been at the end. Is there anything I can do to help him on his journey at this point? I'm not sure why you feel so much guilt. There really probably wasn't anything you could do to change the situation. I'm sure you did what you could. There's no reason for guilt. And I don't know, I don't know what traumatic brain injury it was, how it happened, how it manifested. So it's very hard for me to talk to that. But anyway, the thing is, how can I help him? You can always help him. You can sing for him. You can dedicate your practices to him. You can pray for him. You can talk to him. You can hold him in your heart and hold him in love. And feel his presence. If people don't die, they just drop their bodies. They don't go anywhere. It's, because we're in our bodies, we see things in a certain way. But when you're not in a body, it's very different. They don't really go anywhere. They're always present. And we can by remembering them, we can send them love, and we can smooth out the channels between us and allow that love to flow. It must have been very painful. It must have been very terrible. And very sad and sorry that someone had to go for that. But now that he's out of that body, he's free of that. And you are not. You're still holding on to that. He's not in that body anymore. And whatever karmas he had to work out, and he worked them out, and that's gone. He's in another form. And you have to, for yourself, you need to let go and hold him in your heart in love, in a good way now, for you and for him. He doesn't want to see you suffering. So, anyway, you can always, anytime you do some practice, at the end you dedicate the merit, because practice generates good energy, so to speak, or merit. And you say, may all this merit go to him, and may it help him on his way, and it will. Somebody's asking, what did it mean that Maharaji made me the something of the temple? Okay, the pujari, the priest, the one who does the worship. There was a new temple built to Durga in the courtyard, the goddess Durga. And the official time for it to be open was later in the year, but it was Durga Puja time, this 10-day period where Durga is worshipped, and there's a 10-day fire ceremony that goes on. Beautiful, powerful. So Maharaji wanted that temple open so people could come and see Durga, and so it was opened, and they brought in a priest, a Brahmin priest, a pujari. Pujari means someone who does puja, and puja is ritual worship, ceremony worship. So they brought in a Brahmin priest, and after a day or two, they caught him stealing the money out of the donation box. So they gave him some rupees and sent him home, and they brought in a second priest. And they caught him stealing the money, gave him some rupees and sent him home. They brought in a third pujari. Same thing. They caught him stealing the money out of the donation box. So they sent him away. So the temple trust, who they ran the temple, the board that runs the temple, it was owned by the government trust. They came to Maharaj and said, Baba, we can't find a priest that won't steal. What's gonna happen? And Maharaji goes, my priest won't steal. Your priest? Who's your priest? Me. So I was called from the back of the temple, and I was asked to sit there and be the pujari. And it was fun. That's when I learned some of these mantras that I sing to the goddess, because I thought, hey, well, I'm a pujari for the goddess. I better learn some mantras. So I did. So yeah, that's that one. Okay, well, there's lots. Oh my God, I never saw so many questions. We just don't have time for these. All I can say, I'm sorry that we don't have time to do this, to do all these questions. Come back another time, or if you can, come to the Chai Chat on Saturday and ask then, okay? Thank you for coming today and asking, and let's sing a little bit more. So if you hear the last couple of weeks, you've heard this mantra to Hanuman that I've been singing a lot. Very simple. Om Hum Hanumate Nama Namaha. Om Hum Hanumate Namaha. So I'm going to sing and you sing along. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate, Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate Namaha. Om Ham Hanumate So many of us human beings have left the earth, left the body due to COVID and all the other issues that come up because of that. So many of them are lost and afraid. dying a painful death. So, what can we do? We can offer our hearts. We can offer our Bodhi mind, which is the enlightened heart, the enlightened presence. And we can invite these beings who are lost and afraid to come and have a meal. Come and partake of the love that's in our hearts and be comforted by that. So this prayer I learned from Bernie Glassman. Calling out to hungry hearts, everywhere through endless time. You who wander, you who thirst, I offer you this Bodhi mind. Calling out to hungry spirits, everywhere through endless time. Calling out to hungry hearts, all the lost and the left behind. Gather around and share this meal, your joy and your sorrow, I make it mine. Calling out to hungry hearts, everywhere through endless time. You who wander, you who thirst, I offer you this heart of mine. Calling out to hungry spirits, everywhere through endless time. Calling out to hungry hearts, all the lost and the left behind. Gather around and share this meal, your joy and your sorrow, I make it mine. Shri Guru Charana Saroja Raja, Nijamana Mukur Sudari, Varano Raghubara Bimala Jasu, Jodayak Kalachari, Buddhihin Tanu Janike, Sumiram Pavana Kumar Siaram, Balabuddhi Vidya Dehu Mohin, Harahu Kalesu Bikara, Syavararam Chanda Pada Jai Sharanam, Jaya Hanuman Gyana Gunasar, Yakapi Sati Loka Ujam, Ramaduta Tulta Baladhama, Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanam, Mahavir Bikram Pajarang, Kumati Nirvar Sumati Kesang, Kanchana Varana Viraja Subes, Kanana Kundala Kunchita Kesa, Hatha Bajura Dvaja Viraj, Kande Munja Jane Usam, Shankara Suvana Kesari Nandan, Teja Pratap Mahajagavan, Vidyavana Guni Atchatu, Ramakaja Karibe Koatu, Prabhu Charitra Sunibe Korasiya, Rama Lakshmana Sita Manabase, Sukshma Rupa Darisiya Hindaka, Kata Rupa Daralanka Jara, Bhima Rupa Dare Asura Sanghari, Ramachandra के काज संवार। लाए सजीवन लखन जियाए, श्री रघुबीर हर शिवर लाए। रघुपति कीन्ही बहुत बड़ाई, तुम मम प्रिय भरताई सम भाई। सहस बदन तुमरो जस गाओ, अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगाओ। सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीस, नारद शारद सहित अहिस। नम कुबेर दिगपाल जहांते, कभी को बिद कैसा के कहांते। तुम उपकार सुग्रीवाइन कीन्हा, राम मिलाया राज्य पद दीन। तुमरो मंत्र विभीषण मान, लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जान। युग सहस्र जो जन पर बान, धीर्योताई मधुर पल जान। प्रभु मुद्रिका मिले मुख माही, चल दिलांगे गए अचरज नाही। दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते, सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे। राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे, होत न आज्ञा बिनु पैजार। सब सुख लहे तुम्हारी शरण, तुम्हारा चक काहू को दरन। अपन तेज समारो आपे, तीनों लोक हांकते कांपे। भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे, महावीर जब नाम सुनाओ। से रोग हरे सब पीर, जपत निरंतर हनुमत वीर। संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे, मन क्रम बचन ध्यान जो लावे। सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा, तिनके काज सकल तुम साज। और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे, सोवे अमित जीवन पल पावे। चारों युग प्रताप तुम्हारा, है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियार। साधु संत के तुम रखवारे, असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे। अष्ट सिद्धि नौ निधि के दाता, असवर दीन जानकी माता। राम रसायन तुम्हारे पास, सदा रहो रघुपति के दास। तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे, जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे। अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाई, जहाँ जन्म हर भक्त कहाई। और देवता चित्त न धरे, अनुमत से सर्व सुख करे। संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा, जो सुमिरै हनुमत बलबीर। जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई, कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई। जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई, चित ही बंदी महासुख होय। होया पर हनुमान चालीसा, होया सिद्धि साकी गणेश। तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेर, कीजे नाथ हृदय महादेव। पवन तनय संकट हरण, Mangalamurti Rup Siyaram Rama Lakhana Sita Sahita Hriday Baso Sudabhupa Yavara Ramachandra Padaje Sharanam Mangalamurti Marutananda Sakala Amangalamula Nikanda Mangalamurti Marutanandan Sakala Mangalamula Nikanda Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri 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 Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Shri 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 Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Calling out to hungry hearts everywhere through endless time. You who wander, you who thirst, I offer you this heart of mine. Calling out to hungry spirits everywhere through endless time. Calling out to hungry hearts, all the lost and the left behind. Gather around and share this meal, your joy and your sorrow, I make it mine. If we know anything about a path at all, if we know that there might be a way to live in this world in a good way, with an open heart and without fear, it's only because of the great beings that have gone before us. Out of their love, out of their kindness, they left some footprints for us to follow. So, in the same way that they wish for us, in the same way that they wish for us, we wish that all beings everywhere, all of us, be safe, be happy, that all of us have good health and enough to eat. And may we all live in peace and at ease of heart, with whatever comes to us in life. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Take good care. Ram Ram.